can change but my level. I've been fucking up the game on a regular. She ain't fucking with you lames cause you regular. Ain't nothing gonna change but my level. Ooh, ain't nothing changed but my level. I've been fucking up the game on a regular. She ain't fucking with you lames cause you regular. I've been fucking up the game on a regular. Ooh, yeah, I've been posted on.
All right. Welcome to Thirsty Thursday to the Comfort Level Podcast. I'm Danny Schmanny and I have my co-host here.
Fred going legit.
In the building. And unfortunately, our mental wellness advocate is not here today. Mobile Queen Janika Quinones. She was running a little late, but we have Dr. Michelle Gamble, who is an author, speaker, and health advocate. And she has been an educator for over 25 years of natural health care.
Yeah.
So she's that's important. She's gonna talk to us how she specializes in chronic illness. Oh, you've been doing that for 20 years. Can you hear us, Dr. Gamble?
Yes, I can. I was just waiting for you to ask me a question, but go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say hello and how are you today?
I am blessed as always. Thank you for having me and allowing me to share with your community.
Thank you for coming and sharing this with us because first of all, I have chronic illness such as, back pain, sciatica, and stuff on that order. You know what I mean? So joint pains and stuff like that. So I'm anxious to hear, your natural ways to reverse some of this stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, you deal with mental illness, metabolic disease, and, all the stuff, and you tell us that I know that we have adverse reactions to, pharmaceuticals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. And I don't want to sound like Bugs Bunny over here when I say, "What's up, doc?" or "How you doing, doc?" Because you're a doctor. My daughter's in school being a practitioner, so I always do that to her. So listen, I want to say this is important. People need to be informed that what you eat will dictate your life. How you live will dictate your life. Your health is important. So let's talk about food.
That's what we have thought, but I want to see what her thoughts is because she, like it says under here, she's an integrative wellness mentor. And, how's that different from a coach or a medical doctor?
I love that question. Well, once again, thank you for allowing me to share with your community. And that is a very critical question because a mentor is one who acts as a guide with the understanding that really and truly the power to heal is within you. Unfortunately, we live in a medical system where we pay homage to MDs, what I refer to as medical deities. And these are people who oftentimes step into the zone of believing that they are the ones that are bestowing health and healing on their patients. I don't have that kind of relationship with the people that I work with. Yeah. My goal is to basically step back and help you to step into your role as healer. I act as a guide, as a Sherpa. So really and truly, the most important thing for me is to help you to understand that God has made you in his own image, and therefore you have the power to heal. Not only do you have the power to heal, but you are also divinely designed to heal. and it is your responsibility to heal so that you can become a more productive and effective member of society, and to be there for your children and for all of the other people that you are here to serve. So
Wow, I'm just lay there sick.
no.
Well, I mean, yeah,
So as
you
a
know what I
mentor,
mean? Yeah,
you
you
know,
have a responsibility. It's true. I mean, I really never
yeah.
thought of it that way. I mean, I'm not one that will lay there sick, but yeah, now that you say it, yes.
Yeah. And as a mentor, I step beyond the role of a coach because I am a trained practitioner. I've been doing this, like I said, for over 20 years. And I work with people with the understanding of how these different systems work. I have a lot of training in things such as functional blood chemistry, functional endocrinology,
Mhm.
brain systems, looking at all of these different modalities and pulling them together. So that's where we talk about integrative. I'm
Wow.
able to blend the wisdom of the past with the science and the technology of the present. And what we look at is helping an individual on the healing journey. It's not about looking at saying, oh, health is when I lose 10 pounds. That's not health. That may be a part of the healing journey, but that is
Right.
not the be all and end all. So as you become empowered to see yourself and to function as a healer, you're able to deal with all the various challenges that come up in life. As a mentor, it's not about just this one thing. It's about looking at the body, mind, heart, and spirit of an individual. Going
Okay.
back to the question that you had at the very beginning about, well, let's talk about nutrition, let's talk about food. Absolutely. And the thing is to realize that food is not simply what you put into your mouth,
Right.
whether it be carrots or ding dongs and ho-hos. That's not the only aspect of food. Food is also what you choose to put into your mind. What are the thoughts that you choose to hold on to? What are the emotions that you choose to permeate within your being, that you choose to marinate within? And what is your relationship with your creator? Those are all different aspects of your nourishment. And unfortunately, many people don't recognize that. And so they end up creating chronic illness and exacerbating chronic illness because they are not recognizing that some of it is because I not get enough sleep. Some of it is because I chose to sit there in conversations that were not edifying of my person, but rather they were berating of me. And that lowers my vibrational frequency because that's
Ooh, real good.
I'm saturating
Yeah.
into me. And then I start to identify with those thoughts. I start to identify with those false images and those false identities, as opposed to the divine identity that God bestowed upon us in creation. And so that creates illness, that creates
Mm.
disease.
Oh my goodness. So it's like you just answered my questions. But it was going to be the reasons and why people don't get over chronic illness, and you just said them all. And again, that 3, you said the 3, and I always tell people 3, 6, and 9, real important. Those 3 things, and people, you got some people that eat healthy, but they stay in the, crazy crowds. They always getting madness. What's that? You want to say drama,
Trauma.
right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
All that drama and all that trauma that they're attracted to lowers their vibration. They ain't thinking about a whole lot, so that lowers their vibration. So even though you may have had a salad, your mind and your spirit's gonna be all crazy. So all those things.
That is something that I did not realize until I had been working with people for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And then I ended up in the hospital. I ended up in the hospital, laid out on my back, because I did not recognize the impact of the non-physical elements on my health and well-being.
So what was the doctor telling you?
Oh, the doctor was telling me that I needed to have a blood transfusion. And I said, oh, double hockey sticks. No, no, no. That's not what happened on Michelle's watch. You know, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, God uses these different ways to give us an opportunity to level up. What I tell people is that when you have a symptom, whether it be your high blood pressure or high blood glucose or depression or anxiety or IBS or whatever you want to call the illness, that is actually a message from the divine. That is a message from your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit saying, stop, look, listen. You know, it's not about getting a Band-Aid. It's not about getting some medication or even an herb or a supplement to get rid of the symptom. It's not about taking the battery out of the smoke detector because the smoke detector went off.
I've always said that
battery out and your house is going to burn down. Right.
I've always said that, Dr. Gamble, when I first got my back injury in 2009, and you know, they had all these recommendations, pills, all this stuff and everything, and what's the name? And I always stuck to, listen, I need a solution. Like, this stuff is covering up. You know what I mean? Sometimes you had to take them. You know what I mean? I did find ways to relieve some of the symptoms without taking, and you know, but I always stuck to that. I needed a solution.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, even if you're dealing with something as concrete as a back injury. So I was injured when I was a teenager, it's a gymnastics injury, and I have significant pain if I don't do certain things. Now, you know, I could go the route of just taking some ibuprofen or Tylenol or whatever it is, but then that would not help my situation. In fact, it would make it worse because then I would not be getting those signals. And so whenever I get those signals, whenever I get pain in that area, it tells me, stop, look, listen, Michelle, what is it that you're not doing that you're supposed to doing? Or what is it that you're doing that you're not supposed to do? You know, so it may be as simple as, man, I didn't do my yoga this morning. Oh, man, I didn't drink my water. Man, I'm allowing my circumstances to put me into a situation where I'm interpreting it as stress and I'm, you know, congesting and congealing that energy in the body. And so that back pain is telling me, okay, Michelle, breathe. Okay, Michelle, drink your water. Michelle, stop trying to do everything. Stop trying to solve the problems of the world. You know, it's giving me that message. And so I'm grateful to my back when it goes off like that. I'm not trying to shut it up. You know, it's just like
my whole life.
you know, sometimes we have those kids in our families or in our classrooms. I had lots of those children in my classroom that are just like Jack in the Box. And unfortunately, just like it in the medical system, we do the same thing in the educational system. Oh, shut up. Oh, we don't want to hear you. Oh, you're ADD. You're ADHD. Nah. That's a genius right there. When I had those children in my classroom, I was like, okay, I gotta challenge you some more. I've got to pull things aside and give you an opportunity to level up. So it's the same thing. Do not simply quiet the pain. Pain is there for a reason. Pain is there to challenge us to do something to change the situation.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
And it's funny you saying all of this because these are conversations I have with my little young practitioner to be. And I wish she can get it from you because boy, oh boy, you speak her language. You speak the language she'll probably listen to because she don't listen to me too much. And I guess she's young and I want her to learn as much as she can, but I also want her to realize and know, like, you know, the what I call the big three, the treatments, the drugs, the therapies. Sometimes, you know, there's not really the cure you're looking for. You know, those are Band-Aids, you know, they just last forever. She got to
And
know,
you know,
we live in America. It's all
that's
business.
why it's important for us to distinguish between crisis care or
Yes.
acute illness versus chronic illness. You know, so I tell everyone, if I get run over by a Mack truck, please do not take me to the herbalist. Please take me to the nearest ER. Let them do whatever they have to do.
Right.
And then once I check out, then I shift zones. So as my parents always said, there's a time and a place for everything under the heavens. There's a time where Western medicine excels tremendously. You know, if you're having a heart attack, please don't come to me. Please go to the ER. Please go to the ER. Get yourself off of that cliff, right?
Exactly.
And then we'll take it from there. You know, I would prefer if you didn't have to get to that point, but some of us are hard-headed. So, you know, that's just the way it is. Some of us need to be laid up in the hospital before we decide that we're going to do something different. And it's okay. It's all part of the journey.
Yeah, but you don't want it to be too late. You don't want to be like catching it the last minute, not paying attention to that.
Hey, I recognized a long time ago, it's not my job to save anybody. And if you don't want to save yourself, what can I say? You know, I love you. I may or may not be at the funeral, and that's all I can say.
That's what it boils down to.
Arsenio Jenkins in our comments, she's one of our co-hosts known as Fire Nation Flames. She says, absolutely yes, you have to have that body awareness.
Yeah. Gotta pay attention.
Yeah. It is so critical. You know, we live in a world where they keep telling us not to pay attention. They keep telling us, listen to the experts. So you are told that you are supposed to listen to the dude in the white coat just because he has the letters MD after his name, and you're not supposed to pay attention to what the Spirit has laid on your heart. I truly believe that every person that I work with, and I say this to them all the time, I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't already know. So really and truly, my job is to confirm what God has already placed on your heart. So it's not a matter of people not knowing that Mickey D's is not exactly brain food. We know that Mickey D's is not brain food. That you don't need to have a PhD to know that. The question is, are you ready to make that shift? Are you willing to step up your game and say, by any means necessary, I'm going to fulfill my divine purpose of being in alignment with what God and who God wants me to be?
And that will improve your mental awareness, you know, more so, you know what I mean? In order for you to be strong, to even recognize what's going on with your body. You know what I mean? And then a whole lot of, stress points is relieved, things that you worried about and stuff like that probably don't even exist. You know what I mean? Because if you're not doing yourself right.
So the first step is really, as you said, allowing yourself to become aware. Many of us play it like 3 monkeys. Oh, I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. Nope, I'm good.
That's happiness, though.
Yeah.
Well,
that's comfort. Comfort and
happiness. That is comfort. And it took me a long time to realize that some of us find comfort in being diseased. Some of us find comfort in being sick. And some of us do not want to heal because, healing is hard work. It's not easy to heal.
Exactly.
It's not easy to put yourself in alignment with God's will. No, anybody who tells you anything contrary is lying and you need to run. Okay. I never tell people that what I'm going to suggest is easy. I tell them it's simple. Following God's word is simple, but it's not easy because you have to fight that comfort.
Temptation, comfort.
You've got to fight
Flesh.
all of those little gremlins that are there talking
Oh,
to you,
man.
saying, "Well, you don't have to do this. It's not so bad. Go ahead and have that ding dong and ho ho." What, you know, blah, 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 blah. Not
Eat them
easy.
McDonald's French fries.
Mm.
You know, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. That's why I'm a little bit quiet. I'm the worst when it comes to
Well,
all.
you know, we
Yeah,
all
no. But I want to do
battle
better.
that particular challenge.
You know,
And what I
and I
tell
love
people is
God.
that,
So
yeah,
I love God. So when you put it to me that way, Dr. Gamble, you know, I think I probably get, you know, you got me closer to listening.
well, you know, we're
And that's
all
what we want to
convicted.
bring.
We're
That's
we're
what we
all
want to
convicted.
bring. Yes.
You know,
Fire says that you're very deep. You know, she says people need to learn their rights as a patient and be an advocate for their health.
yes.
She says when she became a medical assistant, it became more clear why it was necessary.
Yeah. And you
And
know,
that's true because they do anything to you and tell you
Yeah.
anything.
part of being a medical, or should I say an advocate for yourself, is twofold. Number one, you have to empower yourself with knowledge. So one of the
Yes.
things that I emphasize with my students is, okay, I'm going to teach you how to read your lab work so that you can ask your medical doctors the questions that need to be asked. I'm going to
That's
teach
it.
you
Yes.
how to research what the different medications do so that you can ask the questions that need to be asked. So that is one aspect of advocacy, being able to have that education, being able to have that knowledge to be able to ask the questions. And then the other part of the advocacy is being able to be badass, being able to have the courage to sit there and say, I don't think so, doc. Nah, buddy. No. You need to answer my questions. You need to address what I'm telling you. I said that this and this and this and this and this happens. Don't just shove me under the carpet. Don't just say, up, 5 minutes up, we're gone. So you have to have the courage and the audacity to stand up for yourself. So advocacy is twofold.
You know
being
what?
badass and being educated.
Yeah. You got you oh my God.
Audacity is important because you gotta, sometimes you think
you just gotta trust God.
People be ignoring them thoughts. They be having them thoughts, but they don't act on them.
Yeah. And see, those thoughts, you're able to be bold and courageous and audacious when you know who you are and whose you are. Now, the reason that I'm able to stand up in all of these different settings is that I know that God has created me with a divine design. I know that God has created me to be able to heal myself. I know it to the core of my being. So I don't accept anything that anybody says that is contrary to that. That's why I said it's very important to acknowledge the spiritual aspect of the healing journey. If you do not recognize that you are created by a phenomenal designer, then you're liable to think, oh, well, you know what? I got to do what the guy says because, hey, he's got a better product. Nah, there's nothing that man can create that will ever surpass what God has created.
Yeah. I had a doctor tell me, you're a little pushy. Yeah, I'm pushy. Yeah, I am pushy. You know?
Yeah. So one of the things that I teach my students to do is to fire your MD. You need to get to the point where you are able to fire your MD. Fire the people who think that they are your medical deity. And for everybody else, if they do not meet your criteria, fire them. Because they work for you.
Right. And we
move on to someone else.
That's what we would say. They work for us. We're paying them, or and you need to. Even if you have to go get opinion after opinion, you know what I mean? I'm in tears right now. I'm sorry, because I see miracles with my own eyes. and everything she's saying is true. You know what I mean? And it keep hitting home.
She's speaking the gospel.
She's speaking the gospel.
Speaking
you know
the
what
gospel.
I mean? One thing she didn't say about the doctors is they don't tell you when you're going to die.
But they can't.
You know, they can't pinpoint it, but they know.
Well, they like to do what I call medical. They like to do what I call medical hexing.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
they will give you a medical hex. Like they will tell you, oh, you're diabetic. You're going to have to be on these medications for the rest of your life. Or, oh, you got high blood pressure. You're hypertensive. You're going to be on these medications for the rest. Oh, you have depression. Oh, you have schizophrenia. Whatever it is, I have seen people reverse all of those things. All of those things. And so the first thing is to realize that you do not need to allow yourself to be intimidated and hexed by these people who have no understanding that they are not the ones in charge. And I tell people, I don't care how many alphabet soup letters I have after my name. I don't care how many pieces of paper I have. You need to always stand up and say, Michelle, I don't know if I agree with that. Can you show me the data for that? Because then it is my responsibility to meet your needs for clarity or support. I am there to serve you. I'm not there to act like the be all and end all. I'm not there to be a deity. None of that. And I'm not there to make any kind of diagnosis or prognosis on your life. Not happening.
Exactly. So
now that you're speaking the word, honey.
You say diagnosis, prognosis. Are doctors still able to say, hey, listen, you're only going to have 6 more months to live. I would just, live it up.
That's not.
Are they allowed to still do that anymore?
Oh, they do.
Say it. That's what I should have said it. They
do
even say it, even if God is saying that you're not, you're going home. Even if God say that you're going home, those doctors, they don't even say it. They don't, they don't give you that much respect or dignity to say that you may only have a few months to live.
Here's the thing: people believe that, and then
they do it in 2 different directions. So in one direction, they'll say, it's time for you to wrap up because, hey, we can't do anything else for you. That's really what that's saying.
Exactly. And that's what it is.
And it's also saying, we can't figure out a way to make more money off of you. Because guess what?
Well,
if they figure out a way to make more money off of you, that's exactly what they do.
Right. Yes, they do. A lot of times you have situations.
Yeah, a lot of times you have situations where they are more so prolonging death as opposed to extending life. So you have some of our elders or other people that are placed into these situations on machines that are basically there so that they can continue to collect money. They have no honoring of the dignity and the integrity of our loved ones. All they're there to do is to continue collecting money, whether they shove them into a nursing home or whatever else. And I've had situations where people come to me and I say, you know what? Allow your loved one to follow the path that God is laying out. Allow them to have peace. Have them go home, celebrate with their families, enjoy whatever time that they have left. And who knows? God may decide to go, whoo, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want you right now.
Don't want you.
You never know. Sometimes what happens is that as soon as they get out of those institutional settings that were there to just build them of money and they're able to go home and be around family, then they get a new burst of life within them, right?
Yeah.
So never allow yourself to fall prey to the medical hexing that goes on.
Oh my God, that word. So let's tell people why medical hexing is so important for doctors in that field. Explain to people why it's in their best interest to keep medically hoaxing people.
It's all about the Benjamins. Plain and simple. It's all about the money.
Can you tell the people? Because I don't know if they don't.
you know,
if I say it, it's like but you saying it.
It's all about the money. They have to convince you that number one, you don't know anything, and number two, you have to keep going to them for whatever drug or procedure or whatever it is that they tell you about. And every time you go, it's cha-ching with the insurance companies. Exactly. Let me give you an example. Let's say I have some of my clients that are diabetic, and I say to them, you know what? I would like for you to get a continuous glucose meter. It's something that looks like a patch that goes on the arm, and you're able to see continuously what your glucose levels are. And I say, this is critical because then you will be able to be empowered to know exactly how the different foods that you eat affect your life and affect your blood sugar.
Wow.
Do you know that most doctors will not prescribe a continuous glucose meter for someone who is a type 2 diabetic if they're not on insulin or if they're not on certain things? So they're waiting for you to get sick.
Yes.
Where they can collect more money, where you have to keep on going to them for them to check you and see, oh, well, your blood sugar is this or whatever it is, as opposed to saying, you know what, let me empower you. Let me step out of the equation because you don't need the doctor. If you have these continuous blood glucose meters, you'll be able to see right then and there how your food affects your blood glucose, how your sleep affects your blood glucose, how different activity affects your blood glucose. And then you will be able to have the option of choosing to change certain things in your lifestyle. So the danger is if you become empowered with that kind of information, guess what? You don't need them. Exactly. In fact, you won't be diabetic anymore if you make certain changes based on that information.
Wow.
So rather than give you the tools that you need, they say, you're going to have to be on this medication for the rest of your life, whether it be metformin or the insulin or whatever it is. And they come out with new stuff all the time. So now they're coming out with a new thing called semaglutide, not telling people about the dangers of this medication. So you're there thinking, oh, well, my doctor says that this is good and it's going to help me to lose weight and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's all that matters to some people.
And then you're going to have, paralysis of your stomach and all kinds of stuff. But
do you believe that some people do need the medication? Like the diabetics or whatever? Like
in terms of diabetics, the people who will need something are what we call type 1 diabetics, where their pancreas no longer produces the insulin. Now, the thing
I was asking because my daughter is type 1 and her pancreas.
Some people are mistakenly diagnosed as type 1 diabetics. My daughter, for instance, was mistakenly no, I won't even say mistakenly. She was erroneously diagnosed as type 1 diabetic. Now, because I know what I know, I was able to challenge that diagnosis. I was able to get the proper test done for my daughter to be able to prove that she was not a type 1 diabetic. And we were able to get her off of all of her medication, including the insulin. And the danger in these medical hexes, the danger in these diagnoses is if she had stayed on that insulin, eventually she would become a type 1 diabetic. Because if you continue to give the body medications when it doesn't actually need it, then the body starts to shut down its own production of the insulin in this case. So, it's the same thing when I deal with men or women who are talking about, oh, we want hormone replacement therapy. Nobody, you don't want to go down that road, because once you start it, you're done. You're going to start to shut down the natural systems in the body that God created to produce the hormones at the proper level. So the question is not, oh, how much estrogen should I give you or how much progesterone should you get, but rather, Why is it that my body is not doing what it needs to do?
Right.
How do I need to step out of the way so that God can reset the system? Because there's something that I'm doing or not doing that is creating the havoc and the imbalance in the hormonal system.
Yes.
And once I remove that, the system will reset. But if you start on these different hormonal treatments, if you start on, say, the insulin, then it's a slippery road until you get to the point where you will be dependent on it for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And that's what they're looking for, because that's how they make their money. See, I don't make money when you go out there and eat carrots. I don't make money if I tell you how to become independent.
How do you make money?
You make money from eating seafood,
No.
and French fries from McDonald's, and what else? All the other stuff they be doing.
Because, you know, my goal is for you not to need me. My goal is for you to be empowered, to be able to make the changes in your life where you no longer need Michelle. When that happens, I'm like, woohoo, yes. Just like when I was teaching mathematics in the classroom. My goal is to make sure that you know how to do that word problem, that you know how to solve that equation. If I have to constantly help you to solve the equation, then what the heck am I doing teaching you in the classroom? You need to fire me.
True.
I mean, in the perfect world, we wish it was like that. This is America.
Yeah,
well,
so,
we incentivize disease maintenance. So we live in a system that maintains disease. It has nothing to do with the promotion or creation of health.
No.
Wow.
That don't pay the bill.
Yeah.
Health is not billable.
Not in that system.
Think about COVID. Because a lot of us, we took the what do you call it?
The jab.
The jab.
We took a lot of us.
And you know, that again is a perfect example of medical hexing, where they were able to convince the world of this insanity.
The whole
Unfortunately, many people did take that shot, and I deal with people every day that are dealing with adverse reactions from the shot, and who knows how it's going to continue playing out in the years and decades to come, because you mess with Mother Nature. You know, I keep on telling people, do not mess with Mother Nature.
I believe that I had an adverse reaction as well. So that was why I had asked you, and I know a few people that had adverse reactions and unproven, you know, we think that maybe that was it. You know what I mean? And it's unusual, unusual passings and all kinds of things.
So now the question becomes, when are we going to shift into the zone where we focus on building health? So even when I work with people who have adverse reactions from the shot, my goal is not, quote unquote, the adverse reaction for the shot. My goal is to help your system to rebuild into that powerful healing machine that God initially created. And if we have that kind of approach and perspective, then it doesn't make a difference. You know, so there are a lot of different saboteurs out there, whether it be the shots that we're giving ourselves and our children. You know, so I never immunized any of my children. None of my children ever had not a single shot, because I knew what game it was many, many moons ago. From when I was 16 years old, I figured out this game.
Okay.
But you have people who have taken the shots. You have people who are exposed to different environmental toxins. You have people who are exposed to the toxins coming from various medications. So it's not about what is the saboteur. It's about, do you have a system, a way of methodically helping people to press the reset button and to build? Because God has designed us to be able to heal. And in reality, we have to start to look at what are the divine designs that are innately programmed into every cell of the body, and tap into that divine design, because that is where the answers are. You know, the crazy dudes out there, they're constantly cooking up other things to sabotage our health. Things that we know of and things that we don't know of. So my
A cure
strategy
for this and a
is
cure for that.
fortification. Because I can't keep up with all the stuff that they keep on creating.
Well, that's the thing.
That's true. Every
Yeah.
time you hear a commercial on television,
You got to keep
it's
refreshing it.
it's a new name for something. I just be wondering, well, how do you come up with these names? All of a sudden, this is out. You know what I mean? Y'all just
Well,
y'all
it's
in the
all about
lab.
that.
They're in the lab.
It doesn't matter as long as they listen.
It's
They're
all
listening,
about the fear porn.
they'll get it.
It's all about the fear porn. That's why I said it's important for us to recognize the hexing that goes on, how they're able to manipulate the fear that resides within people and to build it exponentially, how they're able to twist the mind games that occur, and how they're able to create the illusion that we are separate from our creator. See, if you know that you are bound to your creator, if you know that you have a phenomenal relationship with God, then you're less likely to drink the Kool-Aid.
Right. And some people, the only relationship they have with God is when they have that pain. They say, "Oh God."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When they start complaining, dropping that vibration.
Yeah. And that is not acknowledging a relationship, because a relationship is give and take.
No, it's not.
A relationship is what are you bringing to the table? Even if we're talking about your husband and wife, it can't be just one person delivering love to the other person. So we can't expect for just God to give us love and blessings. We have to reciprocate and say, you know what? I love this body that you created. I love this mind that you created. I love this heart that you created. How do I nurture that and therefore edify you in all that I say, do, think, and feel?
Yes,
in
man.
a perfect world. You need to add that to every time you say paint these pictures that can solve the world's problems, and then you got to say in a perfect world. You got to say that at the end. That would be nice.
Well, you know, the world is perfect.
Right? You know,
it's just that we have the choice of doing things that create imperfections.
Right.
But it's a choice. It's always a choice.
Yeah. I like to say optimism is a struggle, but got to work on it. Being optimistic about that.
Yes, that's why it's so important, as you said, going back to that first question you asked about nutrition. It's important to pay attention to what we are feeding ourselves with. What is it that we're looking at, whether it be YouTube videos or Netflix? What is it that we're listening to? What is it that we're putting into our mouths? What is it that we're breathing?
Yeah.
Those things will either build our faith and build all of these things that you said are key, or they're eroding them, breaking them down, compromising them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Man.
Food and environment. Those are the big influences. And people. Those three. Nobody's paying attention to all three at the same time. So I don't know, Doc. I don't know what to do. Dr. Michelle Gamble, y'all know, no relation to Dr. Sadie, but she's talking some stuff.
No, the late great Dr. Sadie.
The late great Dr. Sadie. Oh my goodness.
Right.
And then you also have Dr. Africa, although I haven't heard much spoken about him in a long time, but you know, we have lots of late greats that we need to honor.
Well, we need more people like you. You know, you are honoring them by doing exactly what you're doing, you know, and bringing us this great information and a way for us to spread and share it to our viewers, your viewers, and everybody who is going to share these this podcast. Everybody who's gonna talk to their friends and their neighbors and their families about this podcast and what they learned today.
Right.
And so that's why I want to emphasize the real heroes are you guys. The real heroes are the people who say, I'm going to do one thing different today. I'm going to call somebody and tell you I love you. I'm going to call another person and say, let's go for a walk. Let's start walking together. I'm going to look at my kids and say, okay, do you have enough water to drink? Or, you need to go to bed because you need to sleep. So you are the heroes, not me. You are the heroes. Choose to do one or more little things each day, and slowly but surely it will build. I tell people, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, sometimes you get overwhelmed and people think, oh, I got to do all of these things. No. Sometimes I work with clients and it may take like weeks just to get them to start drinking water. I said, there's no point in taking 50 million supplements that cost hundreds of dollars if you won't even drink water. Why don't we start with something as simple as that? Why don't we start with something as simple as getting up in the morning and going out and looking at the sun, allowing the sun to come into your eyes and to reset your hormonal panels?
Yes.
Doesn't cost anything.
You gave us a start, doctor. You really gave us a start and a lot to think about. I can think about a few changes that I can make starting,
I'm playing this episode for a lot of people.
Yes.
I'm playing this episode for a lot of people. Matter of fact, we're gonna need you to come back, Doc.
Check on us. Can you come back and check on us?
Absolutely. I will be more than happy to do so. And one of the things
I'd like for you to come back and then get my little girl to come up here. And that way I can just shut my mouth and then you can just talk and she can be like, okay, what you were saying was right.
How old is she?
23.
Awesome. That's my favorite age because they have, they're in that zone where they're establishing their own. And it's so important that we support our young people and give them the tools that they need and the inspiration that they need and the support that they need. There's so much in our world that is fighting to break them down and make them crazy. You got all this nonsense with transgender this and blah, blah, yak. And all of these things are there attacking our women, our young women, attacking the sensibility of our young women, attacking the sensibility of our young men, making our young men into wusses and pansies, So we have to be there. Support our young people.
I was trying to set you up with our mental health advocate, Mogul Queen. I'm so sorry that she couldn't make it because that's what she deals with. She runs up in the schools and all that type of stuff. She fights for the youth.
Yes.
So she has her nonprofit.
So we have lots of programs for the youth. One of the things we have.
Yes.
We have our non-for-profit organization. I encourage you guys to look it up. It takes a village ministry.org. It takes a village ministry.org or itavministry.org. Okay. And we focus on providing the community with various programs. So we've done things like we had our Heal Your Child Summit, which was an online summit where we had over 25 practitioners that came together to teach parents how to heal their children. We've had teen leadership summits. We've had teen leadership programs. We also have programs.
We're going to send our advocate out there. That's why I wanted you to meet her.
Yeah, well, we still can meet. Tell her to give me a call, send me an email.
Yes, she needs to come out there and, she does a lot of public speaking.
Oh, awesome. I'd love to have her on our podcast. We have a podcast, Mommy Heal Thyself.
Yes.
So I'd love to have her on our podcast.
Her agency, she has Mogul Queen Consulting and Rare Jewel nonprofit. Rare Jewel is where she distributes life jackets to children, and she goes around and she teaches pool safety.
Awesome. Please tell her to reach out to me so that
And
I
she's
can have her
also
on
an
my
author.
podcast.
Her book just came. Her second book just came out.
Nice.
So
she's an author.
Yeah, her second book is out. I don't have the first copy of her book in here, but it told her story, you know, mostly her life story. But now this one is because she has a child that survived a near drowning.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it's all wrapped up into that, you know, which
nice. Yeah, that's what inspired me to write my first book.
Yeah,
my child was taken away from me, stolen from me by Child Protection Services. So you know, we can. That's a whole nother podcast where we need to.
Get you.
I got mine. I got one too. And here's the thing. I want to go back to something you said earlier. It was like, you know, the boys growing up to be wusses. And let's talk about how and why. Why is that? And also, like, I don't want to put it all on the mothers, but here's the thing. When boys are around the mothers we love, we can be very impressionable. They can be very impressionable on their mothers. Like, I don't know if they think about that as little boys who ain't got no dad, no stepdad, no brothers. Like, well, just a boy.
You know, it's multifold because, unfortunately, again, we drank the Kool-Aid, especially in the African American community, where we drank the lie that said that we don't need a man. So we decided to trade the almighty dollar for our men because they created these programs to incentivize us to push our men out of our homes so that we could get the almighty dollar. So that's first and foremost. And we prevented ourselves from having the strength of men within our families to guide the development of boys. And what I tell people, I'm a single mom, but I made sure that my boys were surrounded by men, powerful, strong men that were able to guide them. Because I, as a woman, cannot create a man.
Can you be still? Fred loves you. Dr. Gamble, Fred loves you.
I can give birth to a baby boy, but I cannot create a man. All right.
I can't say this though. I can't say none of this. I can't say all this and get away with it.
No, you can't say it, but I'm gonna say it. And I have plenty of women who get upset with me. I am not beloved by many Black women because I will come out and say,
no, because you make them uncomfortable.
We need our men. All of this nonsense about I don't need a man, blah 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 blah. That is BS. And the fact that you are drilling that nonsense say that they have corrupted your mind, heart, and soul. Because God created man and woman. He didn't create man and man. He didn't create woman and woman. So obviously, in the grand design, we were created to need each other, to bring forth the best in each other. So that's one thing. And then the second thing that I want to make sure I impress upon you guys before we wrap up is the awareness that the levels of testosterone in our men has decreased almost by 60% in the past 50 years. Yeah, because the sperm count has decreased. This is not accidental. Okay.
Why is that?
This is deliberate because of many factors. One of the factors that we can look at that is very easy to rectify is what we call phthalates. And in fact, I just posted a blog on my website that talks about phthalates, which is a chemical that is put into plastics and cosmetics and things of that nature and fragrances. So every time you see the word fragrance on something and those little scented candles and whatever, those are what we call endocrine disruptors.
Yes.
They mess with your hormones. And they make little boys into little wusses, okay? They start to decrease the level of testosterone because the testosterone starts to convert into estrogen. It's a process that we call aromatization. And it happens, you can see it even more visible in men as they get older and they start to lose their testosterone and they start to get pudgy and things of that nature. That is called the feminization of our men.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so there's so much that we have to look at, right? And the most important thing is for us to start to become critical thinkers and to say, why is this happening? What could be the reason for this happening? Why would they want this to happen? They want our men to become wusses. It's deliberate. It's not accidental. It's not like, oops, sorry, didn't realize it was going to happen. No. They want our women to turn on our men. They want our women to start castrating our men and berating our men and belittling our men and creating all of that angst in the family, because that is how you destabilize an entire nation. That is how you destabilize a community, by breaking apart the family unit, by convincing people that either they don't need each other, or, you know, convincing the guys that they're boys, convincing the girls that they're guys, and all kinds of crazy insanity.
Oh my God.
It's part of the destabilization process.
It's true.
Because once you are unstable mentally, once you don't know who you are, we have a lot of our children running around, they don't know who the heck they are. So once you don't know who you are, then guess what? You're open to me telling you who you are.
Wow. Wow.
And you will do and be whatever.
I hope you guys are getting this message. I hope you guys are getting this message.
I hope so too, because if they heard it somewhere else, it's not just shit talk. She's telling you some real life. Listen to what she's saying. The people out here watching our show, listen, just listen. Now you can't say, oh, I'm just talking shit and all this other stuff y'all say about me. Just listen. She's saying it, and I'm not saying a word.
And I'm saying, don't believe me. I'm saying, go and do the research yourself. For
we
something
are ready
as simple
to
as
transform.
testosterone levels. Go research. Go put in testosterone levels in men, and you will see that they have been on the decline over the past 50 years. And then ask yourself, why would they want this to happen? Just put on your thinking cap. And if that doesn't work, go into deep prayer, because I guarantee you, God will reveal to you why this is happening. Guarantee you.
That's it. That's it. You know, what if, well, can't convert nobody.
No, you just turn on the light, and those who want to see will see, and the rest will just continue to walk around in the darkness.
Be happy in the darkness and comfortable in the darkness.
That's okay. We love them still, and we recognize it is what it is, and time moves on.
Right.
As I tell people all the time, this train is pulling out of the station.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave the people with your revolutionary message. You say that all people have a divine healer who can break you free from physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual suffering, spiritual pain, and the suffering that stops you from having happiness, and, you know, lead you back to purpose-driven lives. And that's what we hear at the podcast. Well, I might have said it a little bit different, but that's why we have the podcast here, and we bring on people like Dr. Michelle Gamble to give us insight that we can spread on to you guys. And, you know, we're first and foremost to take that good advice, you know, especially when we know it's true, you know, because I ain't gonna let you sit up here and speak about my God if it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, you know what I mean? I love God, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. To God be the glory. Absolutely.
for you, and he is worthy, you know, of all this. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be here to even get this message. None of us would be, you know, in this capacity to do any of this.
It's the manifestation of God's will.
This is
Exactly.
This is God's will.
Yes.
Yeah, but real talk, if they ain't never get it before, they got it from you. So listen to Dr. Gamble. I'm telling you, she know what she's talking about.
So really, we need you to come back in about a month.
Absolutely. Just send me the invite. And what I will do is I will send you the invite for the woman that you spoke of with the mental health
Yes.
assistant.
Yes.
So I'll send you the invite for her to sign up for our podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
because
you.
I know she's watching somewhere, but she really got caught up in traffic.
Yeah,
and
got
just
crazy out there. So
called
Yeah.
and said, "Listen, I'm
It's
not."
okay. It's all good. We'll get it together. Don't worry about
we
it.
try to get her a
Yes.
clone. Maybe we can get a clone.
Yeah.
She can be 2 places at one time.
Yeah.
Don't
Any
we
last
all?
words? Any?
Yes, my last words to you, everyone, is that you are loved and you were divinely created to bring forth a life that is filled with power, passion, purpose, prosperity, protection, and peace.
Wow. Significant P's, guys. A lot of P's. We are, you know, and that's
You should feel.
That's from God.
You should feel your biorhythms going up. Like it should be like it should sound like a piano hitting a note every time, every word she said. That's what it should feel like to y'all. Like getting like you just got raised up. Some
see the piano in the background.
notches. Yeah.
It felt. I really felt it. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't wait to have you back. I can't wait to hear the reactions of the people that, you know, at work now and go home later and watch it. You know, we also have our recaps are running on all platforms, on social media, and also on, you know, anywhere people get their podcasts. So
awesome. Please reach out to me, any guys, and let me know. I
just want to say, people don't allow yourselves to be dumbed down. See Dr. Gamble. Her name is Dr. Michelle Gamble. Look her up and listen. Pay attention, please.
Yes.
Please.
All right, guys. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right, Fred. It's about time.
Don't be dumbed down.
Don't be done. Dr. Campbell was so great. I love her.
Yo,
she's right. She is so right. All right, guys. Well, you guys can recap on that. Make sure you go to www.theholistichealingdoctor.com/ and also itav.org. ittakesavillage.org.
Changed but my level. I've been fucking up the game on the regular. She ain't fucking with you lames cause you regular. Ain't nothing gonna change but my level. Ain't nothing changed but my level. I've been fucking up the game on the regular. She ain't fucking with you lames cause you regular. I've been fucking up the game on the regular.
Yeah, I've been posted on the counter.